channel?
All Vipers, break, break, break!
Impossible to see the future.
This is the emergency holographic doctor speaking.
You're wasting your energy talking. Helmsman laid a new course.
From the wind. Watch how I soar.
Shiny, Captain, head to front.
Now, it's gone completely.
Engage.
Hello, and welcome to the Save-Sci-Fi podcast. I am your host, David, and joining me this week we have Stuart, the news guy, Scarecrow, the crazy guy,
Hello.
and a special guest, Devon, the other guy.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There goes the podcast already. We're not even 30 seconds in.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week we've only really got one main topic because the news doesn't count, so bye-bye.
Hey. Wow. I'm out for the night. Bye.
Yeah, and Stuart's under the bus and it's not a minute and a half. We're off to setting records tonight. And the main topic this week is top 5 sci-fi series or web series. So... basically it's just going to be the same as what we did a couple of weeks ago. I will choose one of my cohorts at random, and they will say what that number on their list is. So, let's see. Let's start with Stuart.
Alright, my number 5. I had to change it because I couldn't remember my old one. My number 5, I will go with Voltron.
What?
Oh,
Voltron.
The feels.
I love Voltron.
Which version?
The very, like, not the line version, like the original old version.
And
Like,
anyone who...
that was
yeah. Just wanted to say before I forget to say it again, anyone who's in the chat room who wants to pipe in, I am constantly monitoring it, so if you have a number 5 that you want to get out there, just go right ahead and punch it up and I'll read it out on the air for you, so...
But yeah, I'm going very old school. I'm going old school Voltron. I still to this day love old school Voltron. It's actually really cool
The
because
funny thing
Amy.
is, there's been 3 versions of old school Voltron.
Yeah, I know.
Old school, then the abortive 3D version, Voltron in the Third Dimension,
Yeah.
which was an interesting premise until they started just random, no limited explanation, just randomly transforming the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
there was the recent anime remake of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
No, I.
Was
I-
pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad actually.
The improvements they made to the startup systems, from the old keys to the Voltcoms, I loved.
See, Voltron only really makes me ask one question, though. Who would win? Voltron or the Megazord? Specifically the Megazord with the Dragonzord upgrade on top of the Brachiosaurs, so it's that, like, penultimate power.
In other words, the Ultrazord.
Yeah,
No, that's easy. The answer is Optimus Prime.
Oh, I was my chocolate salty for that one, Stuart.
See, I'm a 90s kid, so I've never actually heard of Voltron. I actually had to look it up on Wikipedia just to see what it is.
So
Yeah,
Voltron is effectively Power Rangers before there was Power Rangers, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, that's what it looks like from what I'm
Yeah,
seeing
Voltron
here.
started in the 80s.
Early 80s. I think it was
Yeah,
81,
very
82.
early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. It's actually really awesome because ABC3 actually show it on the weekends.
Wow. I find it sad that you know that. I just needed to get that out there.
Something when we're not at BAF.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Me, I just
What,
play
you-
Minecraft, so that's sad in
What,
its own right.
you're surprised I know old school anime? Please.
Alright,
I
well,
spent hours upon hours watching old stuff.
alright, let's move on to
Magnificent
my number 5, Firefly. Now, a lot of people normally have Firefly higher up the list, but to be honest, I don't think it's the best thing ever. Which is sort of nerd suicide, but nah. So, yeah, anyway, my number 5 is Firefly.
I'd have to kind of agree with that. I mean, it was a good show for what it was. I wasn't really as thrilled with the movie Serenity as I was the actual show Firefly.
Well, see, I was the other way around. I actually watched Serenity before Firefly. So...
Well, see,
Yeah.
I watched Firefly first, so...
Yeah. So... that leaves... Devon's number 5. Go.
Okay, my number 5 is something that I'm pretty sure everybody's watched, which would be Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Yes, that was on the list, and then I remembered Battlestar Galactica, and I was like, yeah, bye-bye Star Wars.
Personally, Clone Wars to me started to feel an awful lot like Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah, it did sort of drag a bit.
where it would take almost 10
it-
episodes to
it-
throw a single punch.
Yeah,
It did drag a bit, but overall, in my opinion, it was a good series.
yeah.
It wasn't a great series, that's why it's only at my number 5, but...
Yeah.
The Clone Wars era for Star Wars was my favorite era, so it'll always have a little special spot in my heart.
Yeah. So Amy says her number 5 is Transformers. I'm assuming she means Gen 1
G1.
Transformers because there is no other Transformers. I'll let her confirm. I'll let her confirm that in chat.
At least nothing by Michael Bay.
Yeah, nothing by Michael Bay. Michael
could have
Bay
had- yeah.
Michael Bay is to Transformers what J.J. Abrams is to Star Trek.
No, Stuart, you are not making the Jar Jar quote tonight.
Yes. Anyway,
Oh,
She could have meant the newer animated Transformers. I forget what it was
There's been
called.
enough of them around.
no,
there's been so many
yeah,
iterations.
she says the older one, so we'll go with the Gen 1 stuff. Okay, that leaves the last person who hasn't had their number 5 said yet is Mr. Scarecrow.
I do have to apologize in advance. My list is apparently going to be insanely anime heavy tonight.
Yeah, well, that's what I get for having 2 anime nerds on the show.
Alright, my number 5, one of my 2 actual real shows, Space Above and Beyond.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Space
Never
Above and
got
Beyond
much-
was... It was
No
sort
one
of like...
knows it really. It
Yeah, it was almost
Just-
like the Firefly of its day, wasn't it?
was.
Sort
It
of.
had so much potential.
And it was chopped off
And
at the
it got-
kneecaps early on.
It got no. It
Ah.
made it through its full series, through its full first season, and they left it on a massive cliffhanger with the script and everything for continue on in the next season, and they got dropped,
That's what I meant
with
by
the
chopped
crew
off at the knees.
falling into atmosphere in a cargo pod.
Yeah, that's what I meant
That's
by
where
chopped
it-
off at the knees.
That's
so,
where it
yeah.
leaves off. It's probably one of the best cliffhangers in history.
Yeah. Okay, so it's time to move on to number 4s, I guess. So
Number 4.
yeah, number 4.
We need like some sort of music. We need to get a soundboard one day.
Yeah, I'll get around to a soundboard eventually. KOTOR.
I could be.
So Knights of the Old Republic is what I'm assuming is what KOTOR is.
You can't have KOTOR.
That's a
It's a
video
game, not a
It's a video game.
TV
It's
show.
a web series. Okay, but there's a good story to it. It's a video game for the Xbox and PC.
Knights of the
Exactly.
Old Republic 1, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and then to finish it off, there was Star Wars: The Old Republic,
Yeah.
which is really,
Which was
really
horrible.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
still,
Yeah. Alright, anyway, so number 4s. Let's start with Devon.
Okay, my number 4, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit for this, or crap for this. Sorry. My number 4 is Star Trek Enterprise.
Enterprise.
that I can,
Yes,
I can
Enterprise.
agree with. That
Yeah.
was a pretty good show. It did not deserve the crap it copped.
Yeah, right up to the...
I totally agree.
No, season 1 was okay, season 2 was meh, season 3 was actually really good. I felt... Come season 3, it really found its stride, and then season 4, it was... It was definitely sort of... I still think season 3 is probably the best, but yeah. I did really
But I mean,
enjoy
season 1 they
Enterprise.
were finding their way.
Yeah,
They really were fresh out, no idea what technology they should be using or anything like that. They were literally fumbling in the dark.
yeah.
No shields, minimal warp capability. I mean, for Christ's sake, their primary armor system was polarized hull plates.
Yeah, which was effectively...
Everyone else is flying around with energy shields. It's like,
Yeah.
hello, underdog.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
see, when I watched my first real introduction to Star Trek was actually JJ's Trek, and I walked away from that and sort of thought, okay, maybe Star Trek isn't as campy as I'd sort of been as I thought it was. You know, everyone thinks Star Trek's pretty campy. So I said, screw it, I'm going to watch this thing in chronological order. Not the order it was made, but the order the story takes place. So my first thing I watched was Enterprise.
And then the original series.
And then the
so
original
on.
series, yeah. Trust me, if you want the definition of culture shock, watch Enterprise, then original series.
Oh god.
It's,
Yeah, there is culture shock.
oh, yeah. So Amy says, Infinite Revis?
Infinite Previous
Yeah, that.
anime series. It's actually really, really interesting and good for it. It never really got the airtime it does deserve. Its basic plot behind it is you've got a school full of kids learning to become space pilots, or spaceship crew. Problem is, something goes horribly wrong on the station they're in, and they're forced to basically jettison in this old derelict ship that's been attached to the station for God knows how long. Problem is, no one bothered to tell them the damn thing's actually sentient and wants to help them.
Fair enough.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does. I'll definitely
It
have
is
to
a
check
good
that out. Let's see. Who hasn't done their number 4 yet?
Me.
Okay. Okay, so let's go with Scarecrow. Actually, yeah, Scarecrow.
This one is not going to come as a shock to anyone. Space Battleship Yamato.
Original or new one?
Both.
You have to choose one. Haha.
That's the thing. You really, really can't, because they are pretty much the same thing, except the 2199 one has been slightly revisioned to be less sexist.
Yeah, fair enough. Here I am trying to put him
Well,
under
I've
the...
Much the same.
I've never actually seen Space Battleship Yamato, but I have a friend who's pretty big into it.
Yeah.
If you want to try and find it without having to deal with the subtitles and the hardness, and in the original form at least, and the difficulty of finding the damn thing, you can pretty much find it by looking up Star Blazers in any DVD store.
Cool. Good to
Yeah.
know.
Because that was the name that the English dub version got. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, having watched both variants, it's one of the few English dubs where they actually got the bloody thing right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, who hasn't gone for the number 4?
That guy in the brown
Hi,
robe sitting over there in the corner.
News person.
So, since it's only me left, my number 4 was Red versus Blue.
I see how this is.
So, my number 4 is Red versus Blue. Just because of the way that it's made more than anything else. Like, the stories themselves have gotten pretty sort of raggedy over the years, but it still runs around. It's still done really well. Like, a lot of the visual effects are well, considering it's based on a game, are pretty good. And on a bit of a sad note, for those out there who don't know, one of the lead guys from it, Monty was hospitalised the other day. So just want to take this opportunity to say that we hope he is doing well. Rooster Teeth hasn't announced anything, but last we heard was a couple of days ago he was in critical condition, and they didn't know if he would make it. So as soon as we know, we'll post something up on the Save-Sci-Fi wall. But generous fans of the Rooster Teeth guys have donated over $170,000 to help with his medical bills. So that's really, really good. One day I would love to have a shadow of that many fans to support us. I really would.
Yeah.
So
Monty, honestly, is one of the nicest and coolest guys I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. He is actually one of the most genuine, down-to-earth people and a really awesome person. I really hope he gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Number 3. Although I still have to do my number 4, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
do your number 4. I'm just being a tease.
My number 4. I'm not sure if my number 4 is acceptable or not, so because it's a little off center. My number 4 is the Doctor Who documentary, An Adventure in Space and Time.
Ah, that's the one where it sort of follows the very
Where it
beginning of the series and all the
Yes.
behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, I've seen that. That is actually really good.
It is amazing. I was intrigued by it. Obviously, being a Doctor Who fan, I absolutely fell in love with it. I think they got the cast was perfect for everyone.
Yeah. They actually used that guy in the dude who played the Doctor in that in the 50th.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the 50. He was the version of the first,
Yeah.
because obviously
Hey.
Robin Hubble's not alive.
Yeah.
Hate me all you want, but I can never get behind anything Doctor Who. I just can't.
And unfortunately, due to technical issues, Devon has been disconnected.
But no, I love Adventure in Space and Time. It even though it counts as a TV movie,
Yeah.
I couldn't not go past it. Like I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, but I love that so much. Like
Yeah. It's
it explained so much for me that I didn't know about. Like I didn't know that when Doctor Who started, they were in a shoddy shed that had dodgy fire alarms that sell sprinklers.
yeah.
Like, that's really funny.
Yeah. Considering what they had at the time and what they've done with it, like, by all rights, it should have died. Like, by rights, it should have died and disappeared from all of time and space. But somehow it
Worked.
Yeah, somehow it just had that weird little thing, like, lack of a better way of putting it, the first couple of Halo games have that weird little thing in them that gets you to play them again and again and again. And Doctor Who has that thing that you can never sort of put your finger on. Even shows like Stargate don't have that sort of thing. It's
See, I can agree with the Halo portion because I absolutely love the storyline for the Halo series, and I don't even care much for Xbox.
yeah,
But I don't feel that way about Doctor Who. I tried to get into it, and I just couldn't.
I have to admit, though, it is more of a thing for those countries that have
yeah,
strong ties to the Brits.
yeah. And
So it's because I'm American.
yep,
Pretty much.
You racist.
yep.
Racist.
I'm not racist. I don't give a shit if you're black, yellow, white, or
Oi.
green.
Oi, oi, oi.
You just live in America, and makes it a bit harder to get into Doctor Who because it's designed for Brits, Australians, and anyone else who's
Yeah.
didn't basically give the Brits the finger when
Which-
they wanted to get away from them.
Yeah, which is why Torchwood, which was aimed more at the Americans, died catastrophically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Where are we up to? Are we up to number 3?
Number 3.
Three.
Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Oh,
Number
oh,
three.
I should do it like the count. Number 3. Ah.
So anyway.
Don't make me get the shovel.
I got buried ages ago.
Anyway, my number 3 was originally something else, but then I looked at my bookshelf and I saw this and went, holy crap, how did I forget? It is Battlestar Galactica,
Which version?
the new version.
Okay.
The reboot Battlestar Galactica.
Then
now,
I can
I-
bet you on the
reboot
back
of the
instead of
reboot.
smacking.
I never actually watched it as it was airing. I watched it all on DVD and Blu-ray after it finished airing. And I must admit, I really enjoyed it. It does drag, don't get me wrong. But I still think it's got some of the best space combat you can find in any sci-fi.
Oh, definitely. Especially with the soundtrack for the series.
Oh, yes. Yes, I love soundtracks in series. I've actually got a lot of the soundtracks from the TV series I watch, and I listen to them when I go to the gym and do that sort of stuff. And Battlestar Galactica, quite a few of them, especially the Kara Thrace ones, like the battle ones, are definitely the ones that I like listening
Yeah,
to.
definitely. I have the entire Battlestar Galactica soundtrack on my tablet.
Nice. So,
Going back a little bit, what did you think of the Enterprise's intro and outro? Since we're talking a little bit about soundtracks.
yeah, it wasn't.
I think that was actually best bloody start sequence they came up with for a Star Trek.
Yeah.
Exactly. I felt the
Ooh.
exact same way. The one for the original series, I muted.
Yeah.
Then again, that was the original series built way back when with Ripshirt Kirk. So
Okay. Just so people know, I'm getting a warning on my end that we're running low on bandwidth. I'm not exactly sure what's causing that, but nothing else is on. Just to let you know, if we do drop out, we will be reconnecting as soon as we can. But yeah, at the moment it seems to be fine. Anyway, let's see. Number 3. Let's go with Stuart, the news guy.
Alright. My number 3 is a animated TV series. And it is not Gundam. It is Star Wars Ewoks.
Stop. What?
shovel. I
So
don't care. You're getting shoveled on the 14th.
I'm not coming on the 14th. It's Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Even better. I'll make it 2 weeks later. I will bring the polished.
So
sharpened
Star Wars Ewoks was
shovel.
an animated series.
Block this person. Click.
Yes, this is getting expensive. Ewoks, for Christ's sake. You're better off focusing on Jar Jar Binks.
No, do not go
You know
there.
what?
Do
This
not
was
go there.
actually pretty good, so I don't care. I enjoyed it as a kid. For those who don't know what this is about,
We'll grant it to you because you're a kid and you didn't know any better.
yeah.
Do we want to know what this is about? That's the real question.
Moving on to Devon. I'm sorry, for some reason this podcast has turned into let's all crap on Stuart. I really feel bad about it, just for the record.
No, you don't.
Okay.
I really don't.
I have 2 number 3s actually. I have one that I'm pretty sure counts, but I have a backup one just in case. The one I'm gonna be using first was kind of one that I was originally gonna have my number 6 as well, but we're not going that. Anyway, my main number 3 I'd have to say is a anime called Knights of Sidonia.
That sounds familiar.
I actually like that one, except it got off to a really, really slow start, and they don't have any bangers to work with at the moment, so it's kind of drawn to an abrupt halt halfway through.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but overall, though, from what we've seen of it so far, I think it's got a lot of potential, and
It does.
when it does continue,
It is a
it'll be really
fantastic
good.
show once it gets more content to build the episodes from.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Who's left to do their number 3?
I haven't done mine yet.
Okay, we'll go with David. I've really got to sort of make a checklist and keep an eye on who said what instead of continuously asking who hasn't done it. Most professional podcast in history.
Alright, my number
Ooh,
3
we've
is
lost
actually going to be a
Devon.
backup, since we already covered what was already in my number 3,
Yep.
which was Doctor Who, so that was someone else's number 4 last turn. So I'm going to go with Star Trek Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager. Yeah.
That was actually I watched the original animated series way back when, and it didn't do much for me. Next Generation, at the time I first saw it, bored me to tears. Don't get me started on the deep-seated hatred for Deep Space Nine, but Voyager got me hooked on Star Trek.
Yeah.
I would
Whoa.
definitely agree with that.
What the hell?
Sorry
was
about that. I cut out there momentarily. I got
headphone
randomly
users.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So anyway, just on a totally random note, only to do with Voyager, one of the guys on Save-Sci-Fi, I do plan on having him on. It was the dude we were talking to about the Star Trek letter a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
He's said that Janeway is definitely a villain. So somewhere down the road, I don't really want to talk about it, I just want to touch on it. Somewhere down the road, I am definitely going to have him on, and we're definitely going to talk about if Janeway was a villain or not.
Ironically, I don't think Janeway was a particularly good captain. Personally, I don't think her character was suited for the role, for the situation they were put in.
I think
At the start, Janeway was not suited for it. It took her 2 or 3 seasons of it to grow into the captain that Voyager needed, and I actually kind of liked that, because at the start she was doing everything very by the bookish, very Starfleetish, and once it finally started to sink in that she's going to have to start playing fast and loose with the regs to get the resources that Voyager needs to get home, then she started to grow as a captain.
So Amy,
Specifically right around the time that Seven came into it. That was about the time she started to really play fast and loose.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And I wouldn't say she was a villain. It's just she had to make tough choices that not really many of the other Starfleet captains that we saw had to make.
yeah,
Because
I
she
think
was
the
on
only
her
one
own.
yeah,
The only two that have made similar decisions are Archer and Kirk.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to move along. We'll touch on that when we get him on the show, and I look forward to that because I think it's actually going to be a decent discussion. So let's see. So we've all done our number threes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't worry, my top two are a lot better than my number 3. Don't worry.
Okay, let's move on to number 2. We will start with poor little Stuart.
Number 2, Astro Boy.
Astro Boy.
Yes, I loved Astro Boy growing up. I'm talking old school Astro Boy, like the old original theme, like soaring high in the sky. Like, I'm not going to sing the whole thing, but
Please
Where's
don't.
my
Really, please don't.
Where's my sword?
well, I have one next to me if it helps.
Yeah, just yeah.
But no, I loved Astro Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know what drew me to it as a kid, whether being he was a robot and it was around my age.
I think it was more the fact that it was the only thing decent being shown on TV at the time, unless you counted Sesame Street as a good show.
But Sesame Street is the best.
When was
I
this
literally had nightmares about Cookie Monster coming after me. I'm not even joking. I was like 4, but I just thought, just throwing it out there.
When was this Astro Boy show out?
Again, early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
Early
Okay,
days.
so yeah, since I'm 90s, I missed it.
Do
Yeah.
a bit of a remake of it.
Yeah, there recently was a bit of a remake, but yeah. Yeah.
As I said, old school Astro Boy is amazing.
Who would win, Astro Boy versus Iron Man? Go.
Astro
Iron
Boy.
Man.
Iron Man.
And
Tony Stark has a suit for
everything.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Tony Stark is the Batman of Marvel.
I've got 2 things to say about this.
Yep.
1, Tony has a bit of everything in his suit. 2, he has an EMP device. Astro Boy is not freaking shielded. Boom, dead.
Yeah. Okay.
Tony gets EMP'd, he just hops out of the suit.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
just got all
So,
serious.
Devon, what is your number 2?
My number 2
Yes.
is probably one of my most rewatched sci-fi series that I've ever watched, which is Farscape.
Nice. Yeah.
Gotta pay that.
Yeah.
Gotta pay that. We went
Love
into
a Farscape.
detail with Farscape last
Yeah.
week. I don't think we really need to go back there yet.
Yeah. Okay. just random note, really quick. We'll get back to Farscape in like 3 seconds. Amy said Sanctuary, and Robert has said Stargate Atlantis, which are both shows we haven't actually touched on. But yeah, I just wanted to say that yes.
I think the Stargate thing is a case of it's on the list and it's really high up the list for everyone, but we
Yeah.
cover through Stargate so often here, it's probably actually slipped our minds that way.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Farscape. Almost said Firefly. The only thing that really sort of got to me about Farscape, and it's nothing major. They did nothing wrong with it. It was just the puppets. The little fucking frog thing was the thing that got to me. Rigel.
You didn't like
Leave
Rigel?
Sparky alone.
No, I did. Rigel as a character is cool, but just the puppet annoyed me.
I could see how that could be a little irking.
Especially in the later seasons when they continuously swap from puppet to CG to puppet to CG to puppet to CG. It's like,
Did you
Choose
have,
one.
They kept
Did you-
breaking the budget.
Did you have similar dreams of Puppet with Cookie Monster? Is that why you don't like it?
That
I
would be
think one of the
Muppets.
cool. I think one of the coolest characters besides John is Talon.
Yeah,
I
the
love
ship.
Talon as a ship.
Yeah,
Yes.
Talon
He
was
really
a
cool.
Talon was a tank.
And just the
Talon
whole
was a tank
idea
and a
of
baby, for Christ's sake.
just the
He
whole
was not
idea
fully
of
developed when he went
living
down.
living ships like that is just really cool, and the whole series was featured it quite well in my opinion.
Yeah. Alright, so who hasn't done their number 2?
Hello.
Okay, so anyway, my number 2. I love doing that. My number 2 is the new Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. It's what really got me into the show. I am still slowly slugging through the 5 million episodes of the previous stuff, which
I
I'll
gotta admit,
get to
early
eventually.
Doctor Who does feel like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it just goes.
But then again, they did it as a 10-minute miniseries, so
Yeah.
at the same time, that kind of evens out.
Yeah,
If you're trying to watch it all in the one hit, but if you're watching a 10-minute Doctor Who thing every day, it doesn't quite become as tedious.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing that I like about the old Who that the new Who really doesn't do, it did early on, but it sort of backed away from it later on, was the revolving companions and the sort of the long sort of story arcs. I would love to see, instead of having one companion or two companions for 2 or 3 seasons, I would love to see sort of 5 different companions in one season, but sort of a rolling cast. That
Never happened.
Yeah.
You know.
well, it did in season 1, and to an extent in season 2. You had Rose, who was the main runner the whole way through, but you also had Captain Jack come and go. You had another guy they picked up in the future come and go. You had the boyfriend, whose name I've totally blanked on, Mickey, come and go a couple of times. Even the mum at one point sort of came and went, and looks like
That kind of added to it.
yeah, and it was good. It sort of changed the dynamics. Every time a new sort of companion was on, it sort of changed the balance of the show a bit. And while I liked the episodes where it was only one companion, the ones that had more than one was really, really good. And I sort of missed that in the new series. It's not that I don't like Clara, but I'd love to see more than just Clara on the TARDIS. I'd love to see them stop on random alien planet number 42, pick up a random person, have them on the crew for like 2 or 3 episodes, and then they get left behind, or they decide to stay on a planet, and sort of restart that rolling cast again.
On the other hand, I know why they're not doing that at the moment.
Because they've already used every single actor from the UK in Doctor Who already.
No. No. Not that. Mainly because the last time they had more than one companion in the bloody TARDIS, it became the Amy Pond show.
Yeah, but that's more because
Amy and Rory Pond.
yeah.
That
Okay,
enough
okay,
said. The Doctor
yeah, but-
became a bit part in his own freaking show to those two.
Yeah.
But what's the lesser of two evils, the Amy and Rory show or the Clara show?
He has a point. So, anyway,
Now
I think
I'm
my-
saying the Clara show, but that could change in the next couple of...
so
I think
anyway,
my stance on Doctor Who has been made pretty clear.
Yeah.
America.
so let's move on to Dave's number 2. Scarecrow's number 2.
Okay, this is a doozy. Again, we're delving into the deep, dark annals of anime history. Robotech.
Oh, yes.
I prefer Techno Man.
Biteth meeth.
Let me guess, another 80s show that I have no chance of knowing what it is.
Yeah, it's a anime.
Robotech was
Yeah.
also Robotech was 3 different animes turned into one series.
I think I've got all of them on DVD on my shelf over there under my Zoids and Dragon Ball Z and
So
other
the first
assorted
part,
anime.
First
Send
part
them to
was,
America, and I will find them.
The first part of Robotech is probably the only one that is still a surviving series at this point. Macross.
Yeah.
The Macross part was something like 38, 42 episodes. It was a good chunk of the 75 episode series. least half of it.
Yeah.
That's continued on in Macross Plus, Macross 7, Macross Frontier, and a couple of offshoot PlayStation games as well, just for good measure, with a new series in the Macrossverse coming later this year. Second part of Robotech was called, in its original form, The Armies of the Southern Cross. Now, while the hover tanks were kind of cool, and the fact they could transform into giant robots, again, kind of cool, it kind of lost the core of Macross that made Robotech great. So that's a 16, 18 episode series that you can almost skip over. And when I rewatch the show, I regularly skip over the Southern Cross arc. And then there was Arc 3, which they called the New Generation, which was originally Genesis Climber Mospeda.
Yeah.
And that did get back to the fully transforming fighters. Different design, but it kind of brought the series back.
Yeah. So
now, we've had a couple of offshoots since then in the Robotech verse, but Robotech is now Harmony Gold beating a very, very, very dead horse.
Yeah.
I'm talking so dead it's beyond skeletal. It's dust.
Yeah. Alright, so has everyone done their number 2? Which sounds really sus now that I've actually said it.
Don't worry, it'll sound really sus when we have to all do a number 1s.
Oh god. Alright,
Do it.
so we'll start with the chat room for the number 1s, just because they've been patiently sitting there listening to us ramble incoherently. So Robert says his number 1 is Matrix. Matrix is a movie, not a TV show. Unless you, well, I guess Animatrix, does that count? No.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
That was a one-off anime movie.
Yeah, fair point. Okay, so Robert, get back to us with a TV show.
I know Jody's is
Yeah,
Doctor Who.
because-
is our new Doctor Who.
Because Stargate is too obvious. Lol. So Amy says her number 1 is Sanctuary. So I'd actually like Sanctuary, and for some reason I know it's sci-fi, but it's never really on my sci-fi list, even though it is, and it's actually quite a good show. I've just finished watching through again. And considering the origins of Sanctuary, do you guys know the origin story for Sanctuary?
I've got to remember because I've watched Sanctuary now, if I remember correctly.
I mean of the show itself, not the actual storyline in the show.
Oh. As in how the show was created?
Yes.
Or... No.
What happened was Amanda Tapping decided she was going to make a web series. A really short web series. And she got in contact with the Stargate guys, and they acquired the green screen set temporarily, and filmed the entire first episode, which would be the first episode of the TV show. Originally was a web series, and they filmed it with full green screen everything, just as a proof of concept. And then all of the backgrounds and everything were added in sort of later on, just to prove that they could get away with it before it was even made into a TV show. And that online series was so popular, it got picked up by Sci-Fi and made into an actual show. And I just think that's really cool. The concept of doing a full CG show at that point was effectively unheard of. They were the first ones to do it. And then so many people have copied. Look at, perfect example, Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. The majority of the stuff shown in that was full CG. And they used a lot of the techniques that the Sanctuary guys developed, which was really cool.
And I remember seeing a little bit of Sanctuary. I don't ever think I saw the whole series, but I would agree that it was really good.
Yeah. So Robert has revised his number 1. I'm just going to double check the list I have in front of me to make sure that we're not doubling it up. It's not going to be a double up. He's the only one to choose Star Trek: The Next Generation as his number 1. And Star Trek was actually on my list as my number 4, and then I remember Doctor Who. And Red vs. Blue got bumped to number 4, and Star Trek got the flick, so poor Next Gen. Poor Next Gen.
Yep.
But I must admit, of the Star Trek that I've seen, I do prefer Next Gen. I've seen half of Voyager, all of the original series, all of Enterprise, and none of Deep Space Nine. So,
Avoid Deep Space Nine if you want your brain to stay intact.
yeah, I've heard
like,
that.
I think
Next Gen has a
enjoyed
nice
parts
mix
of Next Gen.
Next Gen has a nice mix of politics, exploration, and conflict. To me, Deep Space Nine was nothing but politics.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah,
4 or
kinda.
5 different factions on one tiny space station. What can go wrong?
yeah.
I mean, there was a little bit of conflict in Deep Space Nine when you got to the Defiant.
Yeah,
But that was about it.
I heard
It was
the
very
war
minimal.
was pretty
It
good.
didn't. Yeah, but that was 5 or 6 seasons down the track.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's move on to our number ones. Let's start with Dave. Scarecrow.
To anyone who actually knows me, this should not come as a surprise. Gundam. Honestly,
Son of a bitch!
anyone who knows me, it should not be a surprise.
Yeah.
I was gonna go.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Amy said
particular
Gundam.
I don't care which particular series per se. I have to though admit that right now, on the top 3 series that I've seen is 00, Zeta, and then Seed. I don't really count Build Fight as a serious one. Love it to pieces, but not really a serious Gundam show, so I don't quite count that.
Yeah. Okay.
That was another one that I could never really find my way into. Was the Gundam series?
You don't really need to find your way into them. Most of the more recent ones are all pretty much standalone. They don't need to know the entire.
I mean,
universe.
as in a sense of, I tried watching them and getting into them, but I didn't really enjoy them. And I
try
don't
build fighters on YouTube.
Okay.
You might
Okay.
just get into that one.
Okay, moving on to Devon's number one. Just because we're starting to run a little bit low on time, and Stuart needs a bit of it for the news. So,
No, we don't.
okay, my number one was actually going to be Battlestar Galactica, but because that was already mentioned, I decided to change it to something quite a bit older. My number one is Quantum Leap.
oh,
Oh,
wow.
hit right in the feels.
Oh yeah, that one hit right below the belt. Oh.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched that. No to
The
self.
whole
Watch
concept of it is great in my opinion, and of course Scott Bakula's in it, so that's a plus as well. And I didn't even really know about it initially. A year or so ago, I actually was looking for other things Scott Bakula was in besides Enterprise, and I stumbled upon it, and it was on Netflix, and I've watched the entire series a couple times now, and I really enjoy it.
that. Did you also watch Chuck?
Yes, I've seen Chuck.
Chuck is awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will let Stuart go next.
Alright. Mine was Gundam, so I had to just briefly change something, and then something jumped in my head.
Okay, so Stuart's already lost. Moving on to my number one.
Hey, no! Don't worry, my number one's not a troll. My number one is Zoids.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn it, Stuart.
I hate you. Just pure hate.
I actually have a Blade Liger, I still have it, I just need to fix it back up. But I
Yeah.
have a red Blade Liger in my room.
I had
It's the most kick-ass TV show I had seen in my teens.
okay.
I wanted a Liger Zero.
Okay, let's see if I can remember
I've got like
all
a
of the
Zero
ones
X
that I
in the
had
back of my
made.
cupboard.
Okay, I had a Zero X, I had a Zero, I had a Panzer, I had a Snider, I had a Jaeger, had Blade Liger Blue and Red, had Shield Liger, had the Gustav, had the Ultrasaurus, had the Death Sora, had the Iron Kong, had the... Did I say... I think I said Gustav already.
You said the good stuff.
I had half dozen of the different Fuser ones, including the Fire Phoenix. I had the Seismosaurus. I had the Jet Falcon. I had the
Zero X.
I did the same. I had 3 or 4 different of the Chimerazoids that sort of fused to make the dragon and the other things. Just Zoids was huge for me. Like my mod DB page, Spina Breaker, has so many of my Zoids AMVs on it, it's not funny. Most of them are shit, because I made them when I was like 10, but I don't care. They're still there. Okay. Devin, just real quick, you're in the States. What time is it there? One of the guys in the chat is asking.
It is 4:47 a.m. here right now. I don't have school right now, obviously. In my state, we got hit by a major snowstorm, so that's kind of another reason why I'm here, is I can be here because there's no school for me. So.
Lucky bastard.
Yes.
Hate you. Anyway, so I think I'm the only one that hasn't done my number one.
Yep.
Now, my number one, for anyone that knows me, knows how obvious this is. Stargate SG-1. Just,
I did mention earlier, it was coming.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm still so into SG-1. The DVD set, I've got all 90 issues of it, including the books. I've worked on 4 different Stargate mods, including one that's still going now. If you have Star Wars Empire at War, Force of Corruption, check out Stargate the
Yes.
Pegasus Chronicles.
Oh,
It's
I've seen that.
awesome. So, Robert says it is 10 o'clock in the morning in Germany. It's currently 7:45 at night in Queensland. So, yeah. And like, I sound sampled. I went through every episode by episode, with an audio editor, stripping the audio and then sound sampling. Almost.
No, that's dedication.
Oh yeah, just the amount of time I wasted doing that. I mean, spent doing that. Yeah, spent. Let's go with that.
I largely grew up with the Stargate series, so I can understand your love of SG-1. I grew up with SG-1 in much of the same way that I grew up with Voyager, and I continued on to Atlantis and what little of universe there was. So.
Well, see, the only problem with being... for me, SG-1 was the show I watched with Dad when I was growing up in the lounge room. And that was on Channel 7. And it was on Channel 7 about from 7:30 to 8:30 for the first 3 or 4 seasons. And then Channel 7 went a little bit mental and bumped it to 8:30, from 8:30 to 9:30. And then a couple of seasons later, they bumped it to 9:30, from 9:30 to 10:30. And then they realised that there's no one watching it anymore because they are airing it literally after the DVDs have come out, to give you an idea of how far behind they were. So they moved it again because there was no ratings, from 10:30 to 11:30. Shock, horror, gasp. Nobody was watching it. They moved it to from that back even further, from 11:30 to 12:30. Still no one watching it. The first episode of Atlantis, they were not allowed to release the Atlantis on DVD over here until they'd aired the episodes on Channel 7. They were aired 2 years after the States at 1 o'clock in the morning on Channel 7. And Channel 7's like, well, we're not getting ratings. And it's like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. The fuck? So,
I have so much feels for you right now.
yeah, so...
Needless to
I have
say,
so much feels for you
Stargate
right
Atlantis
now,
is
so.
one of the biggest downloaded series in Australia ever.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
not even joking. It rivals Game of Thrones in levels of sort of nom-noms.
Yeah.
So,
But I actually watched SG-1 with my mom and watched Voyager with my dad.
nice.
Don't get
Okay.
me started on when Star Trek was actually shown when it was being shown here.
Yeah. Anyway,
It was minimum 11:30 at night.
Anyway, we've got about 10-ish minutes left, so guess what, Stuart? It's time for the news. And I'll never do that again.
Nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Make it
Time to
snappy,
drool.
son of a
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. And go.
David Tennant to play Kilgrave in Marvel's, aka Jessica Jones. So this is a really cool story, and for those who don't know Kilgrave, I'll go into a little bit. So David Tennant has officially joined the Marvel universe.
Which he is over the moon about.
Yes,
Like-
he actually grew up with Marvel comics, so this is really cool. So for those who don't know who Kilgrave is, Kilgrave how do I explain Kilgrave? He's purple, well he was purple, I don't know if they make him purple. He sort of was he was involved in Jessica Jones' past, and so they're gonna bring him in, sort of send a shockwave up her back, like sort of like
Yeah.
PTSD, bad memory stuff.
Yeah. Next, go.
This one. Ghostbusters all-female cast confirmed, and date and release date as well.
Bath, next.
You know,
He
it's
beat me
coming.
to it. I was actually about to make the wrenching sound.
It's like next. Right,
Upside
next.
down, upside down.
Okay, Kepler 444. 5 exoplanets found orbiting an 11 billion-year-old star.
Which is really cool, because there's only a very small number of stars that can live for that long. Most of them are red dwarfs. So, how is that not on my list? Oh, I'm remembering all the good shows now. Anyway,
I know.
continue. Go, next.
This one's a little.
I got one.
You
This is my segment. Stuff you.
it's like, I'm the news guy. I had to do it.
I do all the work. Okay, back to and this is a little controversial. Fifth Doctor Peter Davison says Time Lord should never be played by a woman.
He says the Doctor should
Well, yeah,
be
the
played by
Doctor,
a
I
woman.
should say, should not be played by a woman.
Yeah. And
Little controversial.
yeah, and to be perfectly honest and blunt, unless there is a key story element involved in that happening, I actually agree with him. If they're doing it just to do it, to me that's not worth it. You need to have a proper good story point and proper explanation behind it, because the Doctor's always been sort of the fathery type figure. He's not the manly man. He's not sort of anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but like the Master female, I've got relatively no issue with that because he's a lunatic.
I can agree with that, even though I'm not a really Doctor Who fan. To change a character just to meet some specific requirements or whatever, without making the story seem like it fits that, is just wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, next, go.
Next. Now this is really cool. 2001 Space Odyssey sequel blasts off in sci-fi. Yes! Finally!
It's 3001 is the thing that's going off.
How original.
So no, it's the book 3001. It's what they're basing it on.
Yeah. But yeah, really happy with that. And this is something really cool. Star Wars Battle Pods now in arcades.
Oh yes, I want one. Give me
I
one.
heard about that.
Give me.
Even I'll give that a go.
The only downside to it is it's not a free flight simulator. It's a rail shooter. So you follow a pre-programmed path. That's the only downside. I would love to get one and modify it into, say, an Enterprise bridge or a Daedalus bridge, or something like that. Would be awesome.
You know what I'd do to it?
Yep, Macross.
SA-43 Hammerhead from Saab.
Yeah, that'll work.
We actually have
I was gonna say Blade Logo from Zoids would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, you can actually make it a Zoid cockpit from Fusers because they were all kind of standardized.
Yeah,
it kind of takes away from it.
They actually had that over in Japan. Anyway,
we don't get any of the good stuff.
I know. 5 minutes, go.
Oh, I just want to quickly say about the Samsung. We used to have something a little similar in Australia. Actually, it used to be an arcade game.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Heroes Reborn. The show is back. So during the Super Bowl, there was about what, a 15-second little ad about it.
Yeah, teaser. Yeah.
I kind of
links.
Don't get the ads over here.
Yeah, links to all these news and much more can be found on the Save-Sci-Fi Facebook page, just for those who are trying to keep up.
This might be shocking, but I'm an American that doesn't watch the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm an Australian, and today at work we were forced to watch the Super Bowl at break because one of the Kiwi boys decided that that's what he wanted to watch.
I feel sorry for you.
No one's gonna argue with a Kiwi. All right,
no.
moving on.
Got to keep the canaries happy.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. Be nice to the Kiwis. Remember, I am half Kiwi. Or don't make me get the Kiwi out.
Meh. Alright, now for a bit of a somber note. Former Power Ranger Eric Medina Jr. has been arrested allegedly. This is all allegedly for murder.
Yeah.
I heard about this. Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
what had happened is that according to law enforcement, Medina Eric and his girlfriend retreated to his bedroom, but Sutter, I don't have his first name, forced his way into their bedroom, and that's when Medina allegedly stabbed him in the abdomen with his sword. Medina then called 911 and waited for the cops. Now, I'm not going into this.
Which character was Medina?
He was the Red Ranger in Wild Force and Decker in Samurai.
Thought so.
Yeah.
Cole.
So, yeah.
Yes, Cole.
Anyway, next, go. Bam.
This is really cool. Flash! Gorilla Grodd is coming to Flash.
Excellent. We saw it in the first episode. We saw the cage, so I was definitely looking forward to it.
Yes.
Next, bang, go.
Next.
Well, you're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
We are. We've got like 2 minutes left,
Yeah.
so.
Don't worry, I've only got one more story after. Couple more stories left. Star Wars standalone film selects Chris Waits as new screenwriter.
Woo! Next.
Alright. And, oh yeah! Guardians of the Galaxy news! Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 news. So, there's been a whole thing that came up with James Gunn. He answered a whole bunch of questions about this. Apparently, that baby Groot could just be Groot, is Groot and not Groot's son. He could be dead, or it could be Groot's son. We don't know. He's not telling us anything.
He's an evil bastard and we hate him. Next, go, bang.
Yes. Ronan will not be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Good.
And Nathan Fillion might come into it somehow. May come into Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
That would be spectacularly awesome.
Yes.
He's sort of like David Tennant, but American. He loves his games. He loves his Marvel, all that sort of stuff. So he'd be drooling at the opportunity. Knowing
Are we
him,
going to see the duck come back?
no, please for the love of God, no.
What's wrong with Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
2 words. Howard Duck.
Wow.
The doesn't
Anyway,
count.
that's the news.
That's the news.
Oh.
Okay,
I
yes.
had one.
Yes, you've got
I
a
had one
story.
actually. I'd have one I'd like to interject here. Ridley Scott is supposedly working with Sergio McMahon-Gazan on a movie called Halo Nightfall.
Yes.
yes.
I'll believe a Halo movie comes out when Microsoft rolls over and disintegrates in the pits of hell.
Halo Nightfall is actually meant to be a series they're releasing on the Xbox One as part of their new sort of shift for the Xbox One console towards a media center type vibe and away from a gaming only console.
Yeah.
Which
it's meant
is
to be
one
a
hell of a
similar
gamble.
thing. It's meant to be a similar thing that they did with Halo 4 when they did the TV series Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah, Forward Unto Dawn was good.
Ah.
Yeah.
I'll still believe it as a proper series when Microsoft falls off the side of the planet.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I will give Devon a quick chance to shout out something of his that I've forgotten because my brain just died because I suck.
Just a little quick introduction for me. My name is Devon. I'm the founder of the YouTube channel Gaming in Progress, and I came on here because I'm a long-time follower of Save-Sci-Fi, and it's been really great to be on here with you guys, and I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah. It's good. We love having a sort of a random fourth person. Keeps us on our toes. So I should have really let you do your intro at the beginning, but doing it at the end's better late than never.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, time for the goodbyes. So, let's start with the Stuart.
Bye! Love you, honey.
He doesn't. He lies. You should hear what he says. No.
Oi!
I'm joking. I'm just being a mean bastard because I can. So remember to check out the Save-Sci-Fi Facebook page. All the news gets posted up there as we get it. We're still doing the ultimate sci-fi movie. Starting in a couple of days' time is actually the quarterfinals. So getting really close to the end of that. The ultimate sci-fi enemy ship is almost done, and we've got 3 seconds. So
Bye, guys.
bye. Have fun.
Have a beautiful time.
Hey guys, Devin with Gaming in Progress here. just wanted to attach this at the end of the podcast that you guys just listened to. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this podcast. I know I enjoyed being on it. I just wanted to say that I've been a longtime fan of Save-Sci-Fi, and I will be linking their Facebook in the description, as well as the YouTube page that they will be uploading this to on their end as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments you want to leave, leave them below. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Now, I will be trying to get at some point on another podcast with them, if time allows it, because I am in the United States and they're in Australia. So it'll be a little bit difficult, but I'm hoping it can be done at least a couple more times because I really enjoyed being on with them. Before I go, I do have one last request. Tell me what your top 5 sci-fi TV shows and or web series are. This could be anything like Red vs. Blue, Star Trek Voyager, or an anime such as Psycho-Pass or Knights of Sidonia. As long as it's a sci-fi TV show or web series, just let me know. And if you want to give a little short description of what it's about, that's fine too. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And this is Devin with the Aiming in Progress, signing out.